who let these monsters out of the bag. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 lesser-known movie monsters. For this list, we're excluding more well-known and popular big screen monsters that are typically familiar to most audiences and are focusing on those who don't get enough love. They must be from monster movies or related genres, like sci-fi or horror, and not from flicks that just happen to have creatures in them.
Make yourselves comfortable.
Number 10. Ghoulies, Ghoulies franchise. If we've learned at least one lesson through watching horror movies, it'd be that messing around with satanic rituals and exploring the occult often doesn't work out well for those involved.
Exoridor! Commodestrum! Demonium!
This is exactly the case in the horror comedy Ghoulies. These demonic monsters are the very definition of creepy and are quite unpleasant to be around. So next time you stumble upon your devil-worshipping relative's old crib, think twice about playing around with his satanic paraphernalia. It might save you a lot of trouble down the road. The fact that the original flick spawned multiple sequels more than proves this. Number 9. Razorback Boar, Razorback. Having a gigantic wild boar terrorize the Australian outback is never a good thing, especially since these boars are killing and eating people left and right. Under an unusual and mysterious amount of stress, the wild pigs in this horror flick have developed amplified aggression and have even started eating their own young. As such, everyone caught in their warpath must take extreme caution, as these beasts are not to be taken lightly. These not-so-little piggies give a whole new meaning to bringing home the bacon.
Come on, you bastard! Come on!
Number 8. Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead. Have you ever wanted to vicariously experience murdering someone through the eyes of a demonic monster? Brought to life using human blood and witch skills, Pumpkinhead carries out the revenge Harley wants against the teenagers who accidentally killed his son while on a dirt bike ride. But Harley didn't expect to be able to witness the fatal attacks, as he slowly becomes one with the homicidal creature, especially one that looks and acts like this. All hell's broken loose indeed. Number 7. Giant Trolls, Troll Hunter. In this found footage mockumentary, a group of Norwegian college students tags along with a man that hunts trolls for the Troll Security Service. These trolls aren't anything like the creatures found in fairy tales or myth, though. In fact, they are about as menacing and horrific as they come. Some have multiple heads, while others grow to terrifying heights. If you are unfortunate enough to cross one of their paths, be sure to have some UV rays handy so you can turn these bad boys into stone. And if you're a religious type, you will really want to stay away from these monsters because they've got a nose for you. Number 6. Mutated fish creature, the Host. Those of us that are used to friendly mutated animals like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will have to take caution when approached by this horrendous abomination. Created by the dumping of formaldehyde into a nearby river, this monster emerges several years later to terrorize the poor residents of Seoul. Devouring countless people and kidnapping several others for a later meal, this is one vicious water dweller that is hard to take down. Kinda makes you think twice before littering now, doesn't it? Number 5. Mimic creatures. Mimic.
Sometimes an insect will evolve to mimic its predator.
In Mimic, scientists genetically create a new breed of insect to counteract and kill cockroaches that have been rapidly spreading a deadly disease.
So, with the aid of genetics labs across the country, we recombine termite and mantid DNA to create a biological counteragent. A new species to be our six-legged ally in wiping out the roach population.
However, as a result, this new species later evolves into a monster more deadly than they could have ever imagined, adapting and eventually mimicking their human predators.
These things can imitate us, they can infiltrate us, and breed a legion before anyone would even notice.
Guillermo del Toro had a knack for imagining unique and strange creatures, and this is one of the most terrifying. Number 4. Alien invaders attack the block.
Ah, lovely fireworks.
Mommy, it's an alien invasion.
Of course it is.
Will there ever be a meteorite crash landing on Earth that doesn't release a vicious alien life form that could rip us apart in seconds? Well, we sure hope so in real life, but that's certainly not the case in 2011's Attack the Block.
There's bear creatures chasing us. Big alien gorilla wolf motherfuckers, I swear.
With spiky fur, huge claws, and rows of glowing fangs, these little blokes mean business. It's theorized that these aliens drift through space until they find a planet that suits their needs. But let's just hope that next time they crash land on another planet for a change.
Easy kill.
Number 3. Aylmer, brain damage.
The blood came from a girl whose brains I sucked out.
In the horror comedy Brain Damage, the main character Brian is forced into a symbiotic partner with a mind-eating parasite named Aylmer that controls its host with a blue liquid that Brian soon becomes dependent on.
I'm confused. I'm not following any of this.
Then don't worry about it. You don't need to worry about anything ever again.
In exchange for this hallucination-producing drug-like substance, Brian has to provide Aylmer with a source of food, and the monster just so happens to prefer feasting on human brains. As one would expect, this leads them down a very dark and twisted path. But you know what they say, 2 brains are better than 1, right? Number 2, Belial, Basket Case franchise. Who would have thought that a basket would be a perfect way to carry around your twin brother? But that's exactly what Dwayne Bradley uses to conceal his mutated Siamese sibling Belial.
What's in the basket?
Clothes.
Unsurprisingly, he's not a very pretty sight, nor is a very happy camper. After being unwillingly separated when they were young, Dwayne and Belial develop a spiteful rage against the doctors that performed the surgery. What ensues is a strange and violent confrontation between the brothers as Belial's actions lead him down a psychotic and murderous path. And you thought that your family was dramatic. Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Number 1, The Giant Claw. The Giant Claw. After the release of Godzilla in 1954, giant monster movies entered an era of prosperity in Hollywood and popularity among moviegoers. One of the classic B-movies spawned during this time period was 1957's The Giant Claw. Although the movie is cheesy beyond belief by today's standards, and the look of a giant bird monster itself is quite goofy, there's no denying that this is certainly part of the charm, and is what makes it so hard to forget. Let's just hope that if we ever see a giant bird like this in our lifetime, that it's a little bit friendlier. Do you agree with our list? What's your favorite lesser-known movie monster? For more giant-sized top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.